Hello, my name is Shawna Stenton. I'm the SBDM Specialist for Jefferson County Public Schools. Today, I'm here to provide you with SBDM updates for principals for the 2016-17 school year. Our agenda today are items that are new for the 2016-17 school year, open meetings and open records updates, bylaws, stakeholder involvement, consultation, website, and next steps. There is a new process for the 2016-17 school year for document submission. This year, please send an electronic copy only, not a hard copy, of agendas, minutes, and any supporting documentation to my email at shawna.stenton@jefferson.kyschools.us. We will print these copies in the office, so there is no need to send a hard copy. What we will need, though, in addition to the minutes and the agendas, are a hard copy of the supporting documents. The supporting documents are going to be any documents that are shared with the council at the SBDM council meeting. These documents might include your sign-in sheet, committee reports, policies, budget documents, or your comprehensive school improvement plan. Some of these documents, like your CSIP, might be particularly large. If you need to, you can still pony those, or you can send them in a link. We'll be happy to print those. Please, these documents are required because of open meetings laws, but they also ensure that stakeholders are provided additional opportunity when reviewing your minutes. So not only will they see that you reviewed your CSIP, but they'll see the additional information. They'll see your CSIP. This also covers you, because when someone says, well, they didn't cover the CSIP at the meeting, yes, you did, and it's attached to your minutes. There are some documents, there are some exceptions to this rule though, such as your emergency plan and your staff recommendation forms. Do not send these with your minutes, and they don't need to be kept with your SBDM documents. Your school safety plan is the exception for the open records laws. This because it could lead to a breach in public safety. Your school safety plan contains items such as where your kids go in a tornado, which is not such a big deal if someone were to get a hold of it. But it does contain your cell phone number and some other confidential information, such as where our students go if there's someone who enters the building that has not such good intentions. That information does not need to be shared with the public, and it shouldn't even be shared in open session. So that will be shared in closed session and should not be included with your council records or in your council minutes. So if for some reason that is included in your council minutes, we will remove those. We'll email you just to remind you, hey, take these out of your council minutes, so there won't be any problems there. Also, the staff recommendation forms, the forms that you submit to HR. That may not seem like such a big deal, but it has the names of multiple candidates. When we're looking at our SBDM councils and we consult in closed session because we want the opportunity to have that conversation about the different candidates. But the final decision and what really matters at the end of the day is who the principal is going to select, who the committee recommends. We don't need to know the names of candidate A and B. We just need to know that the council recommended and the principal selected candidate C. So that's why we don't need to have a copy of the staff recommendation forms. So those documents, please do not include those with your supporting documents. And if you were to include those, we'll simply remove those so they won't be posted online. Next is some additional information about open meetings and open records. This is one of the items that often gets principals, both experienced and not experienced, in trouble. There is increased interest in all stakeholders, medias, parents, and community members in attending SBDM council meetings. So we want to ensure that they are open and available to the public. So first of all, open meetings law requires that the public have access to the council meetings. This is throughout the entire meeting, not just in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of the meeting. This is from the start to the completion of the meeting. You want to make sure that if I come in 30, 40, 50 minutes after the beginning of the council meeting, that I have access to that meeting. So ways you can do this. You can have someone in the front office who is available to buzz someone in who is interested in attending. You can also post a sign at the front door. Many of our councils will hold meetings in rooms such as the library that are located on the front or on the main floor of the building. They'll state on that front door and that sign, please enter for the council meeting exit number 7, and that is in the library. That way, someone who's interested in attending can simply enter through the library. You'll see them, they'll hear them knock, they can come in easily. That way the building remains secure. We're not asking you just to leave doors open so that people can just enter whenever they would like. But if someone would like to enter this public meeting, we need to ensure that they have access to the building and to the meeting. Next, please ensure that if anyone contacts your school about attending council meetings, that they are provided the correct information about upcoming council meetings, such as the time, date, and location. If you have a council meeting scheduled for that afternoon, please remind your office staff that yes, if someone were to call, we do have a council meeting scheduled for 4 o'clock this afternoon. It'll be in the library. If anyone would like to attend, they're more than welcome to. I'll get calls frequently from frustrated parents and stakeholders who will let me know, hey, I called my kid's school and they said they don't know when the council's meeting, and they said to call you. No, if there's an issue, we want to make sure that they have access to the correct information about the council. Also, if there are parents or community or anyone who's interested in information about attending council meetings, they will often call my office. I will look up your regularly scheduled meeting dates and I will tell them when your council is meeting and remind them, please call the school to confirm that the council is meeting, because we understand that sometimes councils will reschedule meetings and we want to make sure that we don't waste their time. So often we will have them call the school to confirm that the council is meeting. Next, if the meeting location is changed, post signs on the entrance indicating the new location. If the meeting location changes within the school for whatever reason, we're waxing the cafeteria floors, we're having a professional development in the library, please make sure that anyone who is entering the building to attend the council meeting is not stuck wandering your building trying to find the meeting location. We don't want a reporter showing your building on their iPhone for all to see, saying, I don't know where the meeting is, it's supposed to be in the library, and they're having a professional development. If it is changed from the library to room 133, for example, post on the front door, the SBDM council meeting has been changed from the library to room 133. We want to make sure that people can quickly and safely, without wandering your building, go to the SBDM council meeting. Additional copies of items distributed during the meeting should be made available to guests. If you anticipate guests to be attending your council meetings, please make sure that you make extra copies of the minutes, agendas, and any supporting documents that are going to be distributed at the SBDM council meeting. That way they have a reference right there and they can see exactly what the SBDM council is reviewing. Also, the media is permitted to attend council meetings. They are also permitted to videotape these meetings, and often they will place a microphone in the middle of the council, the table in which the council is seated. Both regularly scheduled and special called meetings should be publicly announced. Your bylaws are going to contain some additional information on that. Make sure that you are aware of that. And just a gentle reminder in the differences between regularly scheduled meetings and special called meetings. Regularly scheduled meetings are those meetings that you are letting me know about right now. The form that went out to an email in mid-July, you've already got it. You've probably already sent it to me, and if you haven't, I need it by September 30th. All of those second Tuesday of every month, third Thursday, whatever those are your standing council meetings. Once we've got that information, we're going to post it on the district calendar. I don't need to hear about those meetings again. You can send me your agendas. We'll get them up on the website. Those meetings you can add to the agenda. You can change the agenda as much as you need up until the point that that meeting, that the council approves that agenda. When you've got your special called meetings though, and those are the meetings that are anything outside of those regularly scheduled meetings. So when you need to consult, if you need to change the time or date of those regularly scheduled meetings, if there is a snow day, or if there's any type of change to those regularly scheduled meetings that you have sent me, that's going to be a special called meeting. Remember, that special called meeting agenda is set. Once we send that out, we're going to send it out to the media no less than 24 hours ahead of time. Remember, we want to give as much time as possible, advance notice to the media as well as your SBDM council members, so we don't have to wait until the last minute. But those agenda items are set. We cannot add to those agenda items, but we can certainly delete those. So for example, if we wanted to review a homework policy and consult, and those were our only two agenda items, if we decided no, we don't have the opportunity to consult anymore, we can go ahead and strike that consultation from the agenda and then complete the homework policy. But if the only item we had was homework policy, we could not add consultation, and that's only for a special called meeting. Now, in both the case of special called meetings and regularly scheduled meeting, another reminder, there are 3 reasons and 3 reasons only that a council can go into closed session: litigation or pending litigation, personnel or actions that lead to the hiring of personnel. That's going to be with your consultation. That's why when you're talking about the different candidates you interview, and when you're interviewing, you're going to be in closed session. And and actions that can lead to breaches in public safety. That's why when we talked previously about your emergency plan, that's why that can be discussed in closed session as well. Also, new this year, the Office of the Attorney General has provided some new documents. We've got Managing Government Records, and that's from August 2015, as well as Your Duty Under the Law, and that's from this month, August 2016. Those have been updated. The proof of receipt with that document has also been updated. Please ensure that you are sharing your most recent copies with your SBDM council. Each member, including yourself, will need to sign that document. Please retain the originals in your building and email me a copy of those documents as well. One thing that we want to make sure that you do every single year is review your bylaws. One thing that came up this year is we want to make sure that your bylaws are inclusive and do not become a barrier for stakeholder involvement. So please take time to review your bylaws to ensure that they are inclusive and provide the opportunity for the public to provide input. An example of this would be a section in your bylaws that is input from non-council members. This is the PowerPoint that you're looking at right now is an example of input from non-council members. It provides the opportunity, if I want to come and simply address the council, I'm a parent, I'm a community member, I'm whoever I am, I want to provide feedback to the council. This is how I would do this, not adding to the agenda, just providing input to the council. Those who attend the SBDM council meetings will be provided with an opportunity to discuss issues under consideration by the council. The following procedures will be followed. 1, a sign-in sheet will be provided for parties interested in speaking on an agenda item. A person who has recommended an item on the agenda shall be given the opportunity to speak first on the issue. Input will be allowed before the SBDM council makes its decision. As each topic is discussed, the chairperson will call on speakers in the order they sign the sign-in sheet. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 20 speakers per meeting. You'll notice in this example, this does not state that you have to contact the chairperson a day in advance, 2 days in advance, 3 days in advance. What we found out through several situations this year is that it is more advantageous just to provide the stakeholders the opportunity to come in and sign up to speak the day of the council meeting. That often it can exacerbate of an already tough situation if you tell people, no, you can't speak because you didn't approach the principal, the school by 2 o'clock the day before or 3 o'clock 2 days before. So this way it gives you the opportunity, if I'm upset or if I'm happy and want to talk about how great the school is, I can come to the council meeting. As long as I sign in, I am provided the opportunity to speak. The 3 minutes, I have found that after 3 minutes of one topic, I will begin to repeat myself. So 3 minutes appears to be ample time. Also, 20 speakers. In the 7 years I've been in this position, I've seen some pretty interesting stuff, and we have yet to have speakers we've yet to have more than 20 speakers. Usually that seems to be a good solid number. So, and that it gives you a little more than an hour added to your council meeting. So that's just an example of ensuring that that your bylaws are inclusive. I would take a look at your entire set of bylaws with your council, make sure there's not areas for improvement. One common question I get is about the definition of quorum. Please take a look at your bylaws, ensure that you as the chairperson and the principal understand what your definition of bylaw or of quorum is. Bare minimum is going to be half plus one. So if you have a council of 6, it's going to be 4. If you are a council of 12, it's going to be 7. But there may be additional requirements based on your council bylaws. Next, stakeholder involvement. If I'm a stakeholder, I want to ensure that I know the answers to the following. Do I know what the council is and what falls under the authority of the council? So often I'll get phone calls from parents and concerned stakeholders from the assistant superintendent's office who had no idea that a council even existed in their school and no idea what fell under the authority of the council. So that's a great opportunity to start that conversation in your school, to let people know this is what the council, these are our members of our council, this is what our council does, and this is their authority. Also, am I aware that I'm welcome to attend the council meeting? I did a presentation this summer at a summit, and I was amazed with the number of people who said, those are open meetings? I had no idea I could attend those. Absolutely you may, and you are welcome to. How do I know when and where the council is meeting? Often I'll drive up to a school and I'll see in the marquee, council meeting this Thursday at 4 o'clock. Absolutely, that's wonderful, but what do you do with parents like me? I'm a JCPS mama, but I don't drive my kid to school. I don't have that opportunity. My family puts him on the bus and picks him up on the bus. I don't go to and from his school unless it's to pick him up from an after-school activity. How do you keep a parent like me involved? How do I know when the SBDM council is meeting? A lot of the schools use IC mailer. You'll use that to notify when the council is meeting. Are your meeting times inclusive? I'll get calls from parents who say, you know, I'd love to be on the council, or I'd love to attend the council meetings, but 2:30 in the afternoon won't work for me. I'm still working, or 4 o'clock in the evening won't work for me. What some of our councils will do is they'll alternate. They'll do an early meeting, so let's say a 4 o'clock meeting, and then the next month they'll do a 6 o'clock meeting, and they'll alternate back and forth, and that way there's the opportunity for the parents that work a little bit later, council members or parents who are visiting, to attend those council meetings. How do I know what's on the meeting agenda? Many of our schools are really, really good at letting everybody know when the council is meeting, but they don't necessarily let everyone know what is on the agenda. So are you communicating to your school stakeholders what's on the agenda? This week we're going to be covering items A, B, and C. Please, we want your input. Come to our council and let us know. How do I know if any major decisions are made at the meeting? One of our middle school schools does a particularly good job of this. They will send out at the conclusion of every meeting, they have an assistant principal who keeps the minutes in the meeting, and she will attach the meeting minutes from the previous meeting, and then she will also, in the body of the email, she'll include just a synopsis. What do you need to know? Just the most important information about what was covered at that SBDM meeting that date, and she sends it out to all of the school staff, and that way everyone is aware of what is occurring. Also, is a PTA liaison invited to attend the SBDM council meeting? Several of our schools, both elementary, middle, and high, utilize this, and I find it a very valuable resource because they'll have a PTA person who attends the SBDM council meeting, and they provide input as the PTA liaison, but then they go to the PTA meetings and they provide input about what has occurred at the SBDM council meeting, and they keep that cross-communication available. Next, consultation, and I know we talk about this every year, but every year I get more and more phone calls about it. So I'm going to go through this district sample. There are some tweaks and some more clarification that I want to provide. If you look at the first paragraph, it's just the standard. When it is determined that a vacancy is in a certified or classified position exists, and just a reminder that certified and classified, this is every position in your building aside from the principal. Now, the principal shall inform the superintendent of the vacancy and the district's transfer policies become effective. So if you're thinking to yourself, hold on, I don't ever consult in the hiring of teachers, that could be because you have a high transfer rate. If you are using the district's collective bargaining agreement, and if you are part of a school with a high transfer in rate, you may never have the opportunity to use this consultation policy in the hiring of teachers. However, if you hire an assistant principal, you're going to be consulting. If you're hiring a plant operator, secretary, instructional assistant, you're going to be consulting. Next sentence, if the position is not filled through the transfer process, the superintendent will provide a list of qualified applicants for each vacant position. So as long as you're not filling the position through a transfer process or something like FMLA and district obligations through that process, you're going to form a committee. Each school has a different type of committee. This is about as loose as you can get. Some schools have the SBDM council convene to determine the committee. I say just go with let the principal, let you form this committee. And this is what the policy states. An ad hoc interview committee shall be formed by the principal. This committee shall be selected by the principal and shall consist of appropriate stakeholders and interested SBDM council members. That statement, interested SBDM council members, is new this year. There are some groups that feel that the SBDM, read the law as the SBDM council must be part of the interview committee. And there are some groups that feel that the SBDM does not have to be part of that. In an effort to ensure that we are in compliance with both groups, this policy gives the opportunity for us interested SBDM council members to be part of that process. It also gives the opportunity for your SBDM council members to be there to consult at the conclusion of the process, and gives them more involvement in the process. The interview committee shall review the applications and support materials of the candidates and shall interview the candidates for the position. The interview members will sign a confidentiality agreement, and that statement is new this year and does need to be added to your consultation policy. All interviews and discussions of candidates will be conducted in closed session and shall be kept confidential. Upon completion of the interviews, the interview committee shall prepare a recommendation for the principal and council. After consideration is given to both the committee recommendation and council feedback, the principal shall make the final selection and submit this to the superintendent as required by KRS 160.3452H. Remember, at the end of the day, you make the final decision. But you have to follow this process, and you have to follow this process and consult with your counsel before you sign off the paperwork and submit it to HR that you want to hire an individual. The principal will ensure that the hiring process in this paragraph occurs within an appropriate time frame. Next is the definition of quorum. Some of you have this for summer months, some of you don't have it at all. You don't have to have this definition of quorum, but if you don't, then you cannot use it. Okay, and this is just for consultation, for nothing else. The definition of quorum for the purpose of consultation and the hiring of personnel other than the principal only shall be after prior notification of the special called meeting, at least 24 hours prior to the meeting, to all SBDM council members and the media, as required by open meetings laws. Those who are in attendance shall constitute a quorum. So you still have to notify your council, you still have to satisfy all open meetings laws, but at the end of the day, when you meet, if it is just you or just you and one other council member, that satisfies quorum, but only for consultation, no other items. We have updated, along with the rest of the district, our SBDM website. It's divided into two major sections. The first are the school community member resources. There are three parts to that. There's school-based decision-making council meeting dates. When you click on that, it'll pop up a calendar, and it's going to have all of our district council meeting dates, and your school included. Also, it's going to have SBDM Council and Standing Committee minutes. Please take a moment to go click on that site, find your school, and ensure that it is up to date. There is nothing more frustrating to a parent or community member or a stakeholder than when they go and they want to find information, when they go and they click on the information about your school, only to find out there's nothing there. We only have the information on that site is only as good as the information you give us. So if you don't send us minutes, they're not there. So please take time to ensure that that is accurate and up to date, and it's just from January 2016 on. And then there's also a council member database that will be active in October. Next, council member resources. This is probably the most important for you all, for council members. We've got information there about the face-to-face training. Also, there are online training instructions. We ask that you drive all of your experienced council members who are interested in completing the online training through this site, because it does update. If they choose to complete the online training, it's certainly a viable option. Just ask that they complete those instructions and send those certificates to me. Principal resources. One particularly valuable resource here is the 2016-17 principal calendar. It's a planning calendar, so you can click on that, show you exactly what you need to be covering as a council in September. In October, it takes it month by month. Then there's also forms for SBDM council members, publications, information about elections, information on principal selections and the updates in that area, links to multiple council resources, as well as sample policies. Those sample policies at the bottom of that page are designed that you can click them. They open up in a Word document, so you can copy and paste and edit those documents as needed, so you don't have to go through and retype things. So you can use those as you need. The next thing is, let's talk about next steps. So you've received a lot of information here, and so what do you need to do with your council? So first, we talked about you're going to need to communicate a plan with your council secretary, and that may be you, on the new document submission process for minutes, agendas, and the supporting documents. Then you're going to review the SBDM website and submit any documents that are missing, any of your minutes that are missing from January 2016 onward. Then you are going to read the new open meetings and open records documents and provide that to all of your SBDM council members, and then sign and return the new proof of receipt forms for you and all of your SBDM council members if you have not done that already. Then you're going to review your bylaws with your council to ensure that they encourage stakeholder input, and have a conversation with your council at your next meeting to discuss how you will keep stakeholders informed of your council meetings and agenda items. You'll review your consultation policy and then review the resources available on the website. Then there should be an attached statement of insurances. You're going to sign and email a copy to me, and then copy your assistant superintendent on that email. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me at 485-3056 or email me at shawna.stenton@jefferson.ky schools. Thank you so much, and please, if you need anything, don't hesitate to call.